Mishnah, Kavi ben Ralal Omer, Kavi ben Ralal says, Saka b'shlish dvarim, ve'ein atabali de avera. Dami ayin basa, l'ana tahaylech, l'ifnei mi ata asid liten din v'cheshbain. Ayin basa milecha sarucha, not very becoming. L'ana tahaylech, even worse, l'makom rima v'soleya. L'ifnei mi ata asid liten din v'cheshbain. L'ifnei melech, malchei ha-melachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't know if you're aware, people, we say this at a Levaya. Nebuch, you saw that a lot of them lately. So the Rambam writes in Bodanuta Zu, thinking about the Ayin Basar, La'anut HaHilech, Lifnei Miyat Osad, Lifnei Mecheshbain, Mevia Adam De Anava. You become somewhat, humble. B'ishtakloma Ayin Ba. Remember, you worked hard for whatever you got because, you came from something quite lowly. When you realize where you're going to end, this is a very beautiful Lashon Rambam. Yavili de zilzul bin yandi ha'olam hazeh. If you realize the whole world ends up, wearing a makam of a rima b'seleya, you're mizalzul. You really don't care anymore about the nourishment of this world. It doesn't last anyway. I mean, and once again, we're living in a kufa with the malachamav stocks and a lot of doors. And it's a never push it. My mother always used to say that tachlichim do not have pockets. The only thing that they take with you is this tshuva, Torah, and ma'asim tovim. There's no pockets there. There's no currency except for one currency. It's called learning and doing Torah and mitzvahs. So that's what he says. He's binding al tachlisha. When you realize where we end up, Yavi Aisayli de zilzul. It's a beautiful language. Binyani oilam hazeh. So realize you're not a big yachshin because look where you came from. So don't think there's anything special about how you were made. You're actually made quite lowly. And you have to work hard to be a person who you are. But remember, you had to work hard for it. And if you work hard for something, you can also easily lose it. And also you have zilzul b'olam hazeh, you know exactly where this is going. This really sounds like real kohelis. And when you realize the greatness of the person who has commanded you, that he is of the entity that has commanded you, which is Melech Malchei Amlachim, Yavi Oisei Lemaya L'Kayim Mitzvah, it makes you run fast to fulfill his commandments because you realize that he's Melech Malchei Amlachim. Because if you talk a person which looks into anava, and you don't care, you don't look into yourself as the pivotal point of reality, and you mezalz b'yani olam hazeh, and you realize it's melech malchei amlachim, then lo yechta kla, you talk it won't sin. So you have a big insight in this Rambam. The Rambam comes to us that anytime we sin, ain't tzadik ba'aretz sheyasatay v'lo yechta, there's some kind of a sin. It's a chesron in one of these three. Either he hasn't looked into Ra'ayin Ba, La'anu Haylech, or Lifnei Miyahu Asid Lidim V'cheshbon. It's a terrible thing to say, but I'm just, it's a pity. We should learn this Mishnah a lot and a lot. Why have to hear it? I have to hear it when I go to the Bet Alavayot. This is a very important Mishnah. That's enough for today. Okay, one more. Yeah, also to different countries in the world. Reb Chananya is Gan HaKayinim Aimer, V'mispala B'shlemish Malchus. If there wouldn't be Amos Malchus, Israel, Bolchaim, below, people would devour each other. It's a very true thing. We see now in this world that the Malchus can decide what's going to happen, and Malchus is wise and takes care of his community. Baruch Hashem, things go better. And the Malchus is not wise and self-centered. They didn't learn the first Mishnah that Malchus, and they're full of gaiva, etc. So in Nebuch, there's a lot of terrible things happening in the world. I guess, you can connect it to Mishnayos, and I don't have to explain what I'm talking about. A Malchus also doesn't have to, I should remember Ma'ayin Basar La'anu Haylech. Maybe then it would be a better Malchus. Good, Sean Ginnig. Let's start learning something. Okay, so let's start with the Brisa, just to get, just today, just to get my feet wet. I haven't get into this. Okay, open up Kuf Chav. Let's start with the pasuk in Chumash. Then I'll start the way Dalia used to start. It's a pasuk in Chumash. The pasuk in Chumash is in Dvarim. In La Yuchalavaki. Let me just get to it. I have this written down in orderly fashion. I'm sorry. I have a big balagan at my table as usual. Here we are. The pasuk in Chumash is in Dvarim Chaf Aleph Psukim Tezvav to Yud Zayin. So the pasuk says as follows: Kiti is in Pashas Kitei Kiti ena liishtei noshim achas ahuva v'achat shnua yoldo lo banim, and they had sons. So these two wives, ahuva, the beloved wife Asnua, and the hated one. Vayah ben abchor lasniya, and the firstborn was that child of the hated wife. Yah biyom hanchilo et banav, and the day will come when he will bequeath inheritance to his sons. Ek asher yelo, that which he will have, he will bequeath that which he has. No, he is not enabled to give rights of a firstborn as ben ahuva pnei ben hasnua b'chor. He has b'chor ben hasnua yakir. He must recognize him. Latet lo pi shnayim b'chol asher yimatzo lo ki hu reshit ono lo mishpat tzedakah. Now, there's a lot of things in this pasuk. Just when we start these suggas, we have to figure out these questions have to be asked. The biggest thing is the languages. Biyom hanchilo et banav lo yuchal levakir. The implication seems to be that first of all, without the pasuk, one would have thought that you can be mevaka. You're a manchil, so you can decide who gets the schus of chayra. The chayra, if this is an automatic thing, which who's asking you? What you decide? Did you decide first when after her husband dies? If I'm dying, but you only butcher in a month from now, are you the matir of the Seishasish? Can you the behemoth shchuta is not an avela, it's kashul akila? You say you're sheikh it now, but you know what? I decided it's not going to work. Whatever the person says, I'm sheikh al manas that this doesn't work. It is not called a masna masha kosev b'Torah. It's called an idiot. I'm not an idiot. What you have to say? It's nai b'chlal. Okay, what's this halach of Yom HaNchila? He's episabailim. I thought it happens with death. More than that, it says mufurish that ain't no chinami. Why taki can't you do it? Open up a Mishnah for one moment. In Daf Kuf Lamed, in Kuf, for a minute. Yeah, Kuf Lamed, the Mishnah Kuf Lamed says, "Aimer ish pleni yerasheni b'malkem sheyesh bas." Biti to Rasheni b'malkem sheyesh ben. Ish pleni yerasheni zet rashma afilo ochiv b'malkem sheyesh la'um mitzav bas. Biti to Rasheni, and he has a son. B'malkem sheyesh ben lo yama klum. He didn't say anything. Why? Zot Rashbam she'akar say Yerusha mimkam. V'daikinim b'gemara bein ben abanim deroi liyerush sas kana gam hakol. We'll let that go. What does the Mishnah say? What's the reason? Shehi amasha kosev b'tay stipulation and something which is negates what the Torah says. The Torah does not mind if you added stipulations to halacha, but the Torah doesn't allow you to overturn halacha. I don't mind if you add stipulations to halacha. You can modify halacha with tnoim, but you cannot in any fashion and form uproot halacha. So the question is, it's very nice to uproot, and to do that means you're doing something. Is this a tnai bailim b'chlal? Are you the manchil? I mean, I understand there is a question that the Mishnah says in Peah, in Perek Vav. Let me see, I have Mishnais here somewhere. Mishnah says in Peah, a famous Mishnah. We're going to learn this, but not now. Mishnah says in Peah, in Perek Vav, sagt the Mishnah Yud Aleph. Im Omar Hareani Koitza Almanas Mashani Shochech Ani Etoil. He makes it serious. He says to them, Almanas, Mashani Sholech, that which I forget, I can be able to take, and I'm not, and there's no din shikha. So we say, Yesh no shikha. He has shikha. So the Bartanur writes, the master Masha Kosev B'Torah, it's not bottle. It's a funny thing. Why do you have to come to master Masha Kosev B'Torah? Without that, it's nothing. Reb Kiva Eiger asked the question. If you look at Reb Kiva Eiger, we're going to learn this in Mitzvah Shem, the Bar Chava. But it's worth seeing this Reb Kiva Eiger in Simon Oy Samach Tes on the Mishnayos, which he asked the question, what shall to use a Lashon T'nai, master Masha Kosev B'Torah? What, you're the one that makes it chikha, you just cut your oimrim, whatever happens, God does. Who asked you? I mean, mechitesi, you can even think of a concept of t'nai that you tell me it's called masna, masha, kosev, b'torah. We never similar things. There's a taisis, a very famous taisis in Ksubis, in Ayin Dalet. I'll just read it to you for a moment. The din is that the din of Tnoim is only found in something which you can do also with a shaliach. If you can't do it with a shaliach, then you can't make it Tnai. We learned it from Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain. Okay, so Taisus asked the question, the Ramasa Tnai de Efshel Kiyuma Idei Shaliach. Like Taisvim Tay Masvari Eshkan. Like, what's the logic behind this? Why do I think that Tnaim depend on something that you can do with the shaliach? I mean, if you're going to be literal with the Tnai that Moshe Rabbeinu did for the Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain, you can also say he made a Tnai, and when they will receive Karka and Eretz Yisrael. So maybe it's Dafka B'Karka, not by Metaltal. Maybe it's Dafka by giving things, not by other things. How do you know? The Teretz says there's no logic to differentiate. No, if there's no logic to differentiate, so why do you think you can learn from there? Dafka something which you can do with a shaliach, and something you can't do with a shliach. There's no din of noise. There has to be some kind of a logic behind it. If not, it makes no sense. Zok Taisves v'eshleimar. The hainu time of the reasoning behind this is hayil va'amase kol kach biyada. Since the Maisa is so much in his hands, so let's understand what that means. That means he doesn't just do an action, he actually creates the chalais. It's totally his Maisa. Therefore, that you can do it through a shaliach. You can simply do it through a shaliach. And if someone that you own the Maisa, you own the chalais, you can decide that you can give someone else to do it. You be Mekadosh Isha for me. I am Mekadosh. I do the action. I create her marriage. I know, therefore, the total bailim on the Chalais, I can now give it to someone else. There we have a concept. Since it's Kolka Biyada Shuyuchli Kamei Shlich Svaru, Shiyeh Kmoke Biyada L'Shavya Beit Noi. Once you can be able to do that, you can also decide that I will do the Maisa now, and the Chalais will happen later. Or the Chalais will depend on another few factors. Since it's kulei biyadai, therefore we say it's shach to say tonight. That's the getter of tonight, okay? That's the getter, that's the halacha. Of a chalitza, for example, chalitza, she'ein biyadai nami lemirba b'tnoim, ein biyadai l'kaimei de shliach. Shliach, there's no such thing as shliach on chalitza. You have to take the shoe off his foot, and you can't exactly make a shliach that someone else's foot should be my foot, okay? So shliach lehever biyadi nami lemirba b'tnai. V'afilu lo yiskayim atnai ya'amaisa kaim. Period, and that's more than enough. I don't know if you know this, but once you'll open up Reb Chaim Hilchos Yibum v'Chalitza, I think it's Perek Vav, he discusses there that Chalitza is a chalais, which not you're doing. You're not creating the chalais. You're just doing a mice. The chalais happens memela. It's like an isha's mutter by shmisa. You're not matter here. You're dead. She's mutter. By a get, you're matter here. That's why you can make it shliach with the get. That's why you can make it tnai with the get. Chaim discusses there as far as the din of edikiyum, that you only need edikiyum with the chalish you make yourself. It's not just the chayis memela. And Meiser Chaim didn't know it's mafusha chuvas rashba in Perik, eh? But he also didn't remember there's mafusha rush which argues in chuvas rush. The Meiser it's a machlekes arishan, but that's no news for me. Okay, that's old news. That this is a big shay machlekes that Rishonim to Chuvas Rosh and Chuvas Rashba. But for that, you have to have a library at the end and the time to read it. At the end of the day, but Reb Chaim Yesod is a Yesod Gadol that is very he tiny is that there's no din of Eidei Kiyum if you don't create the chalosh. That's as far as truth. We don't need 80 key. We need 80 kiyum for a get. We don't need, and for kedusha, we don't need 80 kiyum for the misa, the baal, which is matras ishtoi. It's the same davar shebe'erva. Why don't we need 80 kiyum for the death? Why does misa the baal not demand 80 kiyum? You only need 80 biru. You need 80 to verify the guy died, but you don't need 2 witnesses at the time of the death. To make that a officially sanctioned death, which is matras isha. Says we don't need an officially sanctioned. We need him dead. It's a matzav of death. Is matzav. This is a misa, a misa. It's a matzav of death. Simple as that. Okay, but same thing. But v'chula klal is 80 kiyum. Reb Chaim times is only in a place where you need a das which creates a chalois. Okay, I'm not this. You can look it up. It's a very sweet one. That's Reb Chaim. The idea is an idea. It's ma'aseh machlekes rishonim, but the idea behind this Tosfos is that idea. That milsa the lesser b'shlichus. That's a bit nice because you're not the bailim on the ma'aseh. It's a matzav. It's the chalosh you're not creating. It's a certain situation that makes her mutter. Lashon of the Rashba isn't true in chelik hey that by yivub you're not koiner. It's isha hiknu loy min hashamayim. Like the lashon of the Rashba. That's why he knows you don't need a kiyum, and there's no t'nai by yivum. I'll send you on the time. I have to look up where the Rashba is. I'll look it up and send it on the chat site. The Chuvas Rashba, very famous Chuvas Rashba. So l'chayra here, there's a tremendous chiddush. The whole Gemara here said the pasuk says he's called a manfil, and ein chanami. The whole din of lo yuchel levaker is a din of masna mashikosid b'torah. We would have thought that basically that he could be mevaker. And the Ashir is the Masa Mashikosim, but the Ramban adds it's also a lav if he does it. But at the end of the day, that's the Chor of the Allah. It's a Masa Mashikosim, but he's a manchur. It's very hard to understand what this is. What's the Agdara? L'chari, he's a manchur, he's dead. How's he manchur? What are you going to do with the sugi of mishmush? You didn't learn the beginning of the parak. You know, sometimes dead people inherit in the caver and they give it on to another generation. Do dead people also have a koyach of hanchala? Manavshich, if you need hanchala, if that's the case, how does it work by mishmush? You don't need hanchala, so what is this din of hanchala? I'm pointing out something which is like olive base of this parak that someone has to figure out or at least think about. So this is something very worthwhile thinking about. So here the pasuk says, when Monakud, the pasuk says again, so here we have the halachim of first that what ashayir, which means that he has to have bailus. Then it says, "Ki as abchor ben asnu yakid lotzei pishneim asher yimatzolai." So we know there's a difference between yiloi and yimatzolai. When it comes to the pshat, he says, first of all, when he wants to be manchel es asher yiloi, he's talking about basic bailus l'chayr. When he's talking about, but the bchor gets yasulei pishneim b'chor asher yimatzolai, so we know that Chazal darshan yimatzolai has to be muvzik and not roy. What does it mean, music and not right? He has to be literally in his hands. That's what it means. What exactly is the Agadara? We'll have to see. Emir Shem will start the sugya. We'll see what that is. What is this idea of ki es brobin absur yakir losa pishnaim? That's a sugya in Kuf Chavav Amin Beis. The biggest shayla you have to ask: what is this halacha that he's makir him? The halacha we learn from that the person's named to say, "This is my son. He's my bechor." He can be makir him. What is the agdor? And it's a machlekes tanoim. Is he also believed to apostle people? Can he say Zeh b'ni mamzer? This is Rebuta and Rabbanon. It's a very big sugi. We're going to get there. Hopefully you got until the bibkiyas. You'll see it. One big question has to be on the table. What's this together of yakir? Is this together yakir in Amanus? It's like an extension of Edus. There's a halacha of Edus. Shnei Edim, Ed Echad. Now there's a halacha of Yakir. Could be not muchach in the psukim. There's obviously a possibility which has to be explored. That doesn't mean to say, I recognize you, me, and therefore I machzik you as a son. Now the din because you're mukzik. That would make more sense as far as the psukim. Mitzvah, when you'll see the sugya in the Rishonim, that will actually be a quite important nekuda. Yaakov is l'char nishkin halacha and edus. It's an external din which gives you the power to create the image. We see him as a bchor, and once we see him as a bchor, he has a din of a bchor. It's nishkin din edus, it's a din of lahakzik. That's the pashtus of Yaakov. Just want you to know. Then the pasuk here is again said the lashon lasos like pishnayim. It doesn't say lahanchit. What's meant lasos like? That's a question which the Gemara is going to deal with. The lasos like is who's the giving? Yaakov. What did it say? Yaakov lasos like pishnayim. He's giving the pishnayim. Mashmar says that he is giving the pishnayim. So yet there's enough community. Is the father giving the pishnayim and din matana? And yet we have, as far as the other thing, it's called the Yidin of Anchala. So it's the Mashmar says there's a Teres Yerusha Anchelik Pashut. For that he's a Manchil. And here there's a Chiddush, he's the Getter of Nesina. What is this Getter of Nesina? It's a Sugid of Kuf Chav Dalet and Kuf Chav Vav. We're going to have to deal with that Kuf Chav Vav Amid Aleph. We're going to have to deal with that too. What does it mean? Ashiyimatzalei, and the Getter is Loses. What's the Agdara? There's one thing which I never had an answer, and it was Kihu Reishis Oinai. I really want someone to answer this. There's no such din? We don't need Reishis Oina. We don't need Reishis Oina. Reishis Oina means Tipa Rishoina. Excuse me. We say Reishis Oini, it means to say he's a holy man, that nothing ever, he had no Tipas Levatala. So Reishis Oina, Lav Dafka Reishis Oina, it's Alachim Peter Rechem. First of all, what happens if there's two? And the ratios, and the first tip of zera is the one inside, and the second tip of the zera, or whatever it is the one outside. And then the outsider comes out first. He's the bchor. It's not totally in knisses, totally in yitziyah. What's this din of ratios oina? This is a very famous vertel of the Gra, which he obviously never said, because it's famous vertel of the Gra of the bchor of Esav and Yaakov. One went in first, came out second. You know, that's his meiselach. You know, you probably heard it in grade school. Your Rebbe must have told you to say over a board on the table on shops. But it's not even lashon hara, it's narishka. So at the end of the day, there's no din of Reishis Oinai. That's the muck of this mistakes. I want to know what shot Reishis Oinai. You got yourself questions. I don't know. If Mishnah out to eat, I don't know this Reishis Oinai. I know a lot of things I've learned. This one I don't know how to correct. What's meant Reishis Oinai? It's not even Reishis Oin klape this bia, but the din is lemaisa. Hypothetically, if there's two tipos, it's totally in Peter Rechem. It's not totally in Reishis Azera at all. There's no din of Reishis Azera. Not even you said Reishis Oinai doesn't mean Oinai Bechla. It means Oinai in this specific koyach, which was Mazriya. You don't need it. You don't need it. Before you don't need it. There's no such din. What's this halacha? Reishis Oinai. That's it. Tzorchin, which I push it. Lo zechisi shetiyamar b'layla. I ran nishivim shona. I still lo zechisi. So I don't know pshat. So this is the chumash. No, I know. I know kama halachas. I know a father is a manchil. I know he's a bailim and a hanchola. I know therefore it's a din of master mashas b'Torah. I know it's a halacha of although l'chayre he's dead. I also know that he's the manchel also b'mishmush. So there's kind of a Torah that a mace is a bailim for doing certain things. So is it automatic, or is there a tzur of anchala? You don't have to have das for the anchala. It's very interesting. You didn't das on the anchala. No one has to think about anchala. Yet you have a capability of making it tnai on the zechson and master mashit chasabater. It's like mind-boggling. What exactly is the agdor of his place here? Okay. That's a very important shiloh. The other question is the lasis versus the lasis live, which is by bchor, and as opposed to lahanchil. Now, what is the difference? You're manchil, and since you're being manchil, there's a concept of lasis. Is lasis outside of the anchala, part of the gin of anchala? What's the agdora of this lasis and this anchala? Okay, that's the opening hours. Let's go to the brises. The Brisa says in Kuf Chav Gimel Tanu Rabbana Bchor Noitel Pi Shnayim. Here we learned the pasuk. The Bechor takes Bishnayim Fashim Matzalei B'Zroya L'Chayim V'Keva. He takes B'Zroya L'Chayim V'Keva. Zok the Rashbam. What does it mean, Zroya L'Chayim V'Keva? So he says, let me just find it for a moment. No, it doesn't have it here. This is Bechor Ben Koyin. B'Zroya Bishnayim L'Kayim V'Forshim. Good. Zroya L'Chayim V'Keva. The meaning of Zroya L'Chayim V'Keva, which obviously we'll see in a minute what it means. Obviously, it wasn't yet in the hands of the father, because there's no chiddush, because it's chulin. It's matnas kahuna. It has no kedusha to it. It doesn't make tevel. There's no din tevel by Zroya L'Chayim Keva. You cut. It's simply a piece of the animal. You have to give it. It's not a tyroibitz. It's nicker. It don't have to make enough rasha l'chayra. It just is in the Zroya L'Chayim Keva, which is mam and kain. What's the chiddush? The Gemara says uva migdashim. Now migdashim has a problem. What exactly you give? What are we talking about? All if you're taking for granted, Mugdashim are called the yours, granted. They're called the yours. But what exactly are you giving? You're Magdish a korban, okay? And you're dead. Okay, you know what happens? What din imamnis does the Irish have that you're getting? There's a pishnayim there. What could it be? Break your backs. I wrote an article on this one. There's a Sefer Zikaron for a Talmud of mine. Yossi Pinsky, you look it from the library, or maybe it's in your Oitzer, whatever it be, Chochma Bina V'das. It's called, what's it called? I have a printout over here, actually, called Zichorain Basefer. Karen B'Yavna Topshin Nun. So I actually wrote in a small article. It was a very big article for whatever political reason. They had to cut away 8 pages. Because, the cloud is you should never be more than certain people. So it's like, if you're not, it had to be totally re-edited, so it should look like a self-contained. You can look it up. It's a Yerusha Bailas with Mugdashim on that question. What do you mean? What do you want to give him? The only Yerusha you have is the dinners that the Gemara says at the beginning of this Vachan. So also Mishnah in Kinnim that if a Isha, she frisha her chatos, and she died, the Yorshim are mark of the korban. It's halacha. There's a special pasuk in Trainim that the Yorshim are called bailim as far as akrava is concerned. But that's not a din mamadus. It's got nothing to do with cheshem mishpat. It's special halacha. The Shem bala korban for akrava is now the Yorshim. Very nice, but this got nothing. There's no pishnayim in this. This is not the regular din of Yerusha. So obviously that's not what the Mishnah is talking about. Bryce is talking about. What is the Bryce talking about? What is the din mamadus that we're looking at when we want to be Yerush Mugdashim? What exactly are we talking about? Question. I expect you to think here for a moment. Okay? And we also took for granted that you own the Mugdashim. L'chayra, you own the Mugdashim. Now, how do you own Mugdashim? So, l'chayra, we'll see in a minute. Ubishvach, well, Mugdashim. Do we own Mugdashim? So there's a very famous Gemara in Baba Kama. Very famous Gemara in Baba Kama, Daphne Vav. 1 minute. One minute. Ayin Vav Amid Aleph. Gemara says in Ayin Vav Amid the halacha is that a ganif which steals is chayiv kefo, and if he sells or he slaughters is chayiv dalad v'hei. The Gemara says, what happens to gona v'higdish v'chakach tovachu mocha? What happened by a gona v'higdish for the Gemara? And after he was tovech mocha. The Gemara clears the chiv and tvicha mechir, but what's like the kashi? He should be chayiv dalad v'hei on the hegdish. A hegdish lechayiv mali mocher lehedyet mali mocher l'shamayim. That's the line of the Gemara, and I involve him at all. What's the difference if you sold it to Hegdish by being Magdish, or you sold it to L'Shamayim? So the Gemara, Haman and Reb Shimoni, okay, what did the Gemara say at the end? I'm going to skip at the moment. So the Gemara, 1 minute, here it is. Mali Mocher Hedi Mali Mocher Shamayim Mocher LeHedyot Mi Ikora Tura de Ruvain V'Ashta Tura de Shibon. Originally, it was when you sell it to an Hedyot, originally the ox belonged to Reuven, then it transformed, she transferred to Shimon, now the ox of Shimon. Machar l'shamayim, but if you sold it to shamayim equals hegdish. Mi'ikora Tura de Ruvain. In the beginning, it's the shore of Ruvain. V'hashta Tura de Ruvain, and now it's also the shore of Ruvain. Gemara says clearly that there's no transfer of monetary ownership when it comes to hegdish of a mizbeach. Any korban always belongs to you. Mi'ikora Tura de Ruvain, v'hashta Tura de Ruvain. Reb Chaim, Reb Bachber already brings the famous Reb Chaim and Reb Chaim. They discuss this. Is first seeing this. It's a very beautiful piece. I elaborate on it in my article, and whatever I did. But there's a Reb Chaim says over there, the Eino Chinami. Hegdish does not mean giving the mumminess of the chayfetz to Shemai. That's only Hegdish of Kedushas Bedek Abayis. Kedushas Bedek Abayis is a monetary reality. We once learned this, a famous Gemara in Chulin, with yes, Hegdish of Bedek Abayis, I'm giving the mumminess, I'm shabbat the mumminess to the Hegdish, the old Hegdish, that's mumminess, and the chayfetz is like a mashkin for that chayf. And Hegdish is goyve from that mashkin. That's a Rashba in Chulun which writes this. Therefore, what happens, there can be yush, and the Hegdish is paka. What happens, Gemara says, what happens if you're magdish lebedek abayis, a chicken, or a bird, not lemizbech, lebedek abayis, and it flew away, and you can't get it. So the Gemara says it's not Kodesh anymore. Why? Because basically, the Gizber is Messiahish. Since when does yush take away from Hegdish? The answer is, so the Rashba says, listen, basically, the guy that made the Hegdish Bedek Abayis was Mischayiv. The mumminess of the Chayfetz belongs to Hegdish, and Lamai he's goyvet with from the Mashkin. Now he can't be goyvet. He's Messiahish from his shibud. It's a classical din of yush, just like there's yush of aniyim, from matnas aniyim. There's yush of kainim from matnas kainim. There's a yush from Bedek Abayis. That's a din of mumminess, no question about it. But here we're talking about karbanis. By karbanis, the Gemara Mikor Torah the Reuven Ashta Torah Reuven. It was Reuven's and it stays Reuven's. So Reb Chaim, what does that mean? Nothing changed. This is not a monetary reality. It's yours. Elamai, the Torah says it may be yours, but there's no way you have any positive expression of ownership in it. It's yours for only one thing. If someone takes it, he's a goslin. You have nothing in it. It's miyuchad l'shamayim. All the tashmishim, all the usages are miyuchad l'shamayim. You have nothing. You have something which is totally out of realms of human usage. It's miyuchad l'shamayim. You have no peirus. You only have guf. Guf with no peirus in it at all. That's what you have. You basically have the mumminess, but therefore it's not called selling, but all the usages are miyuchad l'shamayim. That the gedaf means kachem mizbech is not a mekach umemka. It's a yichud l'shamayim. That's when we talk about a Kiddushin, we say that a Kiddushin is like Kodshem Mizbech. It's a Gemara in Kiddushin. Ariyat Mekudeshli is the equivalent of being Magdish and Oila. Yes, because what are you doing? You're not acquiring. You're not buying and selling. What are you doing? You're setting her aside for a certain relationship. Tash Kodshem Mizbech is setting aside for a certain relationship. We're not talking about monetary transfer. You don't own your wife in any sense of ownership of a monetary reality. Ask your wives, they'll tell you all about it. Ask your mothers, they'll tell you all about it. Okay, that's a davar pasha. So Ramela l'chayra, this is bashteda. Kumta is the feast that the Mekdoshim are taking not yours at all. And it doesn't matter whether kachim or kachim kalim, because the Gemara says both the kachim and kachim kalim. The Gemara here says, "Naf hayin vav mikor tur de Reuven v'ashta tur de Reuven." Read it. Forget the shaila of mama b'ayim lav mama b'ayim is a question: to what extent is it something that you have the rights of usage? It wasn't totally given to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, but the basic mama is it's the same thing. Mamish the Gemara Naf hayin vav in babakama. It's the Baisa. So if you look carefully, you'll see the Rashbam was aimed on this. The Gemara says on Mugdashim, the Gemara says, Mugdashim lavdi deininu. Kachim kama livdi Rabbi Yosef Galili. Zot Rashbam. Mugdashim lavdi deininu. Kigain chatos v'ashamois michayim kotche Hashem ninu. V'yesh ben meila. What does that mean? Why is meila indicative of calling it kotche Hashem? Why does he have the idea of meila? Kol zman shelei nishchatu. Kol zman shelei nishchatu, they have a din of meila. Why is the meila indicative of anything? That's right to a Gemara. A Gemara in Baba Kama, where the Gemara says, there's a din that ki yigach shor I shor re'eyu. There's a halacha that when if your shor was nagach, someone else's shor, or mazik, anything else, you're chayiv. That's only shor re'eyu v'loy shor shel hegdish. Hegdish is not re'eyu. Interesting. Hegdish is not re'eyu, and therefore, mela, there's no, you're potter by nezikin. So what is the criteria for re'eyu for a hegdish? So Rashi writes, shor re'eyu omer achmanav lo shor de hegdish. This is Vava Rabbeinu Babakal. V'ua din l'chol shor nezikin, she'im mazik es a hegdish potter. That's one. And then he continues and he says, V'lei mukale ba'achilas behemte stay hegdish, mishum do mishkachisle. The sade chayim lekayim have it. Ukestay head dummy. V'lekel amem bekavchem lehegdish. V'stay hegdish nami ever letzarech bedik abayis. Oya magdish poidel altar. Oy moichen oy sil altar actually yotze be ever lekayim have it. V'oya sade b'tzes to be ever lekayim. V'i kaidim pedia. Last line of Rashi. Ein meila b'karkos. The kol amchuba lekarka kekarka dummy. What's he saying? The criteria of re'eyu is whether there's me'ila or not me'ila. And since there's no me'ila in karkos, it's called re'eyu. First Rashi become of Avam the last line that me'ila is the criteria for re'eyu. So we said when Rashbam explains over here that what do we say by the lav leyesh ben me'ila? Since there is a me'ila, it's not called re'eyu. It's not lav didei. In other words, what's me'ila? Me'ila is an isser of usage transgressing on the yuchad legavaya. So if there's me'ila, that means to say it's miyuchad legavaya, and if it's miyuchad legavaya, that's still a lav didei. Now let's understand which pasuk this is from. Because ba'avu shlamim ein b'hem me'ila kid dashina kotche Hashem kotchem yuchadim l'Hashem yotzu kotchem kalim shem yuchadim l'Hashem umiu einam memoinai. So l'chayre it's alpha became it's not called memoinai. Why not? The hegdish miu kotche, it's still called hegdish. V'loy karin bay b'chol asher yimatzei lo. God help me. Is the chisaron of the pasuk b'chol asher yimatzei lo, or is it from the first pasuk that says asher lo? The pasuk b'chol asher yimatzei lo, my friends, is talking about roy versus mukzik. It's not called mukzik. The idea of having that which he has, that's another pasuk. Yeah, loy is bailus. Yimatzalai, we learned that the idea of B'chor Pishnayim has to be Yimatzalai. We don't need Yimatzalai for a, so to speak, for a pashut. We need Yelai. Go back to the pasuk in Chumash. I'm going to read it again. Pasuk in Chumash Chafal Tesvav in Re'eh. What does the pasuk say? The pasuk says again, B'ya b'yom achila as born of Eis asher Yelai. That's the criteria for Yerusha. Where's the criteria for Pishnayim? That's pasuk Yud Zayin. Yakir lo yesabchor ben asnu yakir lotzlei Pishnayim b'chol asher yimatzolot. So look, if you're about to say Mukdashim Lav Didei, is this a problem with the pasuk of Ki Yimatzolei or the pasuk of Yilai? That's your question. Which pasuk are we dealing with? If you hold Lav Didei, it's not yours at all. It means to say that what? It's a chsar niyaloi. Und was sagt Rashi, Rashbam? Rashbam sagt, miu alpha p, shem miu einem amayna. I'm going to say it again. Avu shlamim, ein ben meila. Ki darshina kotchi Hashem, kotchim am yuchodim l'Hashem. Yatsu kachim kalim she'enim yuchadim l'Hashem. Therefore, there's no din me'ilah, which means to say, according to the Rashi of Bakama, there's no din me'ilah. It would be called sharei eyu. It would be called somewhat you own it. You own it more than kachim. But afal pikein, although you own it more, and it's called rei eyu, miu enim amayna. It's still not called your mammon. Why? And he obviously differentiates between kedushas damim, and kedushas mizbeach. By kedushas damim, no me'ilah, mean to say it's you. There's no chesron at all. By kedushas mizbeach, it's not that way. The migdash miyakacha. There may not be an Isser Me'ilah, but it's still Kaddish, and therefore what? The name might be an Isser Me'ilah, but there's a, what do we say? He doesn't say, V'lo karinan b'chol asher yiyaloi. The first that he learns, when the Gemara says, Lavdi Day, doesn't mean it's not yours. It's not yours to give Pishnayim. That's the first in Rashbam. Means it's not yours to get Pishnayim. How can you tell me the Pishnayim in Mukdashim? It's not yours to get Pishnayim. It's interesting. What does the Gemara mean by that? What's the Rashbam teaching me here? It's in my Rishos. It's not called Roy. I mean, as much as I have it, I'm going to have more of it. As much as I don't have it, I'll never have it. This is not the words of Roy versus Mugzik. It adds rather the same criteria, the same logic that you see that your matzale is a chisorin in Roy, and you need mugzik, that also is a chisorin in the Bailis of Hegdish. Tasav Ashteda. It's also a chisorin in the Bailis, but not in the year light, it's a chisorin in the yematzale.
Is Rebbe understanding their Ashbam that he's including Ashlamim in this part of the Gemara, Mukdash and Lavdi Deinenu? Isn't he limiting it to Chatos and Hashamos?
You don't have what I'm saying. That's exactly what he's adding more. Look carefully to the end. He says the Chayret.
I understand he's adding more. He's not saying it's different on the Gemara.
Excuse me. Without the din of Mammon Bailim, he understands it's talking about everything. It's only later in the teretz of the Gemara we say it's Kotchim Kalam Alid. Originally, we started talking about everything. This is what the Rashbam is saying. Want to read it again with me? What the Rashbam?
How does Rebbe understand the first line of the Rashbam?
Let's read it carefully. Kigain. Chatas v'ashamais michayim kach Hashem ninu. V'yesh b'meila. That's pashut. Afu shtom ein b'meila. But afu pk, I'm going to skip a few words. U'miu einam amayna. What? Shlom.
I understand, but he's explaining Mukdash Nadidainu kegon chatas v'asham.
It's only the teretz of the Gemara. Kachim kalim v'alid b'yosei glili zunukimt in a country b'yosei glili. But without the b'yosei glili, before the teretz, we start talking about everything. And there's no such thing as kachim, which are his.
So can Rabbi explain why in the beginning he limits it to saying kigon chatos v'ashamos?
Maybe you're not reading well. Read the whole through line together. He's not limiting it. He's starting saying A, B. He's a very orderly presenter. He say first of all, it's a loizu avzu. Lavdi day. Not only chatos v'ashamos is never pashut, even shlomim.
So wouldn't he say that it's not only instead of saying, for example, this?
Lazar, I love you very much. I think he's saying it. I can't say. I would have written it the same way. What can I tell you? I wouldn't have written it differently. I don't know what you want. I mean, I do know what you want. I don't see value in it. There's no other way of reading this. Okay, maybe you'll go into some somersault and figure out a way, and I'm going to have to play with it. I don't want to. This is Pashut. Take your time, relax. Yeah, you're alone, man. You have a lot of time to think. It's a great thing. You know, you've actually you don't have to hear any noise. It's a tremendous thing. You're a lucky person. I really feel that way here too. You know, that's it. Weiter. Okay, Ingela. So the tzarachin is a big tzarachin. What do we understand here? What steht in der Chaim? This Rashbam steht there of Chaim. The Gemara there said originally that what? That Mikar Tur de Ruben, Hashta Tur de Ruben, what does it mean to say that basically that you are a Bailim, Elamai, it's Mufka from Tashmishim, it's a Miyuchad Legavaya. The Gemara understand that your Matzle demands some kind of aspect of positive ownership, not just restricting ownership that's a Fergezel. That's not called Yimatzalei. The nafkamina could hypothetically be interesting. Would the same thing apply by Yisura Anoah or not? And there's a big difference between Yisura Anoah and Hegdish. Hegdish doesn't mean it became usher. That the shibush is given to Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's muftab ne'adim and given to Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's not a question of Yisura Anoah. It's a question of course Hanoah Mil Adam. It's a very big difference in Yuchad Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because I Gavna, we say that what? So he said Tekson Yimatzalei. That's the Chayav was stating there Rashbam. Otherwise, it's a Pele Godel. What's he doing with Yimatzalei? Typically, in the Shaloi, the says no. He understands it is Shaloi. Even Chatos Lashamas was Shaloi. Mikar to the Ruben Vashta to the Ruben. The stomach of the Gemara and I involve him Babakama. The Teretz says no, but there's a dinner Yimatzalei. Elamai, there's still a big nafkamina. As opposed to the Gemara there, which believes the same thing applies both to Kachim Kalim, both by Kachim Kachim and Kudish Agili. This Gemara argues. Now, what you have to do is parallel and figure out what the relationship between this Gemara here, according to the Rashbam, and the Gemara Babakama involved. This is like a psicha thing. I don't really, you really think we're going to spend now time talking. I want to know about Basra, but this is a question which has to be asked. I'm going to put the table of the question simply. L'chayra it's a pella. Vasat the Gemara Mugdashim loved it. First of all, what kind of Yerush is the Mugdashim? What are we talking about? What Yerush of Mammon is there? The Shaykh Bishnaim. That's a big tzorach here. Yerush, some of the Yerushas we find is the Mishnah in Keenim, the Gemara in also in Zvachim, in Daf Vav. The Isha Shemesa, so Yoshim maybe Chatosa. They bring a Chatas Ayoledus. That's a special halacha that there's a Shem Yerusha for it to be makrib. Because the thing is, every cherubim has to have a Shem Bailim. It has to be Toidas Ruvain, Toidas Shimon. One of the halachas of the Shema is of the Shem Bailim. If you're Sheikh, it's Toidas Ruvain, the Shem Toidas Shimon, it's Shinui Bailim. Or Shinui Kaidish even, it's Pasels. There's a halach of Lishma, it has to be the Shem Bailim. A korban has to have a makriv, okay? So there's a chiddush that the Yorshim are called makrivim b'mkoim ha'meitz. That is not a halacha in Choshen Mishpat. We have a special drasha for it, for goodness sakes. This has got nothing to do with Choshen Mishpat. Okay? That's an Andra halacha told us, a din in Yorshim. Just like Goyal Adam is also a din in Yorshim. Got nothing to do with Choshen Mishpat, believe me. Okay? If you know what I mean. I mean, there are quite a few halachas which are told in Yorshim, which have nothing to do with Choshen Mishpat. So there's another halacha. So what is the Yerusha? That's question number one. Suggest you ask around or look up that article. Or the part which isn't there. Okay, that's question number one. The question number two is even a better question. What does it mean, lavdi day? Kachim is lavdi day, mashma, it's not yours at all. Which means it's a psarn of the pasuk of what? It's not called Yiloi. Not Shaykh Yerusha at all. That's the chayra, the kasha of the Gemara, not Shaykh Yiloi. And the Gemara says, is that really true? So we bought the Gemara Babakam Ayin Vav, which says, is there a din of Tficha, Mechira? It being Magdish somebody, is that equivalent to Magdish Mizbeach? Is that equivalent of Mechira for a Gana to be Chayiv Dalit? Hey. So the Gemara says in the Chatchili, Gemara Klez, Saglili, etc. Finally, the Gemara there says, no, the Kula Alma. The Kula Alma, the Gemara says that, no. The Gemara says his lashons again. Ayivav Amid Aleph. So the Gemara, right? So the Gemara, there's no difference between Kachim Kalim and Kachim Kachim. Udi Kikashilach Mali Machal Hedid Mali Machal Shemayim Machal Hedid Mikar Tur the Reuven Vasha Tur the Shemayim Machal Shemayim Mikar Tur the Reuven Vasha Tur the Reuven. So I pointed out again, so Reb Chaim understands, you have to look up the Birchei Shmuel there, Reb Chaim understands that it's supposed to Kachik Badik Abayis, which is the transferring of Mamonis, and a Kedusha, which is Chal, because this Mammon is Meyuchad L'Gavaya, Mashenkin, when it comes to Kachim Mizbech, there's no transfer of Mamonis at all. You're setting aside the Shimush of this object, you're setting it aside L'Gavaya. The parallel to that is Kedusha Isha, which we talk about. The Gemara says in Kedushin, we parallel to Kachim Mizbech. That's why the Gemara clears what happens if you say your heart is Mekudesh to me. It sounds very romantic. Hare libech Mekudeshesli. So the din is, the Gemara said, Nispashta Kedusha Bekula. What happens if you said, let the heart of this ox be Hegdish? The Gemara said the whole ox is Hegdish because it's an Avesh and Neshama Tluyaba. right? And we say Nispashik Kedushin Bekula, the Gemara equates Nispashik the Kedushin of Egdish to Nispashik the Kedushin by an Isha. That the Gemara Hedya makes that thing. It's very interesting because that only works by Behema and not by an Oif. That's why the Gemara is Makish. Kedushi Isha the Egdish Mizbech of Behema, not Egdish Mizbech of an Oif, which is interesting. Okay, one day we'll learn Kedushin, I'll explain it to you. But that's a very interesting reality. L'mais, it's a get a Kotchem Mizbech. That's what I'm trying to say. If it's a get a Kotchem Mizbech, it's nothing more than Yichud Lit Matzav Misriya. No, if that's the case of Chaim Lin, that's not Mechira. Mechira has to be a transfer of ownership. It's not a Maisa Mechira, it's a Maisa of Yichud Lit. You're not transferring ownership. You're setting aside a certain reality, Ligavaya. It's another kind of concept of a Maisa, another type of Chalais. So l'chayra, that's how he learns. What I'm telling you is l'chayra is mashma that way in the Rashbam, because the Rashbam pointed out in the question when the Gemara said Mikdash Rav Day, the Gemara goes on all korban, all kachim is back. It's only afterwards in the Gemara there the Gemara answered we're talking kachim kalim, and I'll leave it to Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Now Taisus, what does he say? First of all, Taisus brings the idea kachim is back by chatas for Ashim is definitely Rav Day. Why? Because there's Me'ila, and if there's Me'ila, it's called Lavdi Day. What did we know? Where's the makkah for this Hasvara? This Svara, we saw in Rashi, Davavim Babakama, that if something has Me'ila, it's not called Re'eyu. That's the parallel. That's why Rashi brings Me'ila. What do you do by Chayr, by Kachikalim, which does not have Me'ila? There's no issue of Me'ila, so the Chayr is the day. So he says, no, Afal B'ken, it's not the day. Why? Because at the end it's Migdash Kacha and V'loi Karina by B'chol Asher Yimatzalei. He goes further and says, V'afilu im nishchetu shiyachal la'oichlon enu shaloi. Ki ditnam perek b'edik kedusha mekash b'chelke b'em b'kotche kotche kalim b'kodeshes. He's not a bailim b'shulchan gavoya kazachi. He's a guest at God's table, and we believe that a guest is not a bailim. This is the Gemara. So the shaila is, why does he bring the idea of Cholashi Motzalei? Right? If he understands that Lavdi Day means Motzalei, typically he should say because Lavdi Day, what's your Motzalei? That's a pellet. Okay? What does it mean? Now you have to ask whether the Motzalei is going specifically on Kotchim Kalim, or is it going on both? When Rashbam says is it going on both sides of the question, both on the Chatas and the Yashim, which is Kachim, which is Yesh Ben Meila, and even and also on the Kachim Kalim, which ain't Ben Meila. Afal Pikain, it's not called the Yimatzlei, but the Lo Yimatzlei is going on both. Equals in both of them. There's no problem of Lasaslei. The only problem is Yimatzlei. Or another possibility of reading the Rashbam is not that way. Rather, he understands since Ein Bein Yesh Bein Meila, it's definitely not losses like. That's by Chatas and Asha. But by Kachim Kalim, which l'chayrid is losses like because there's no Meila and it's called Re'eyu, as we saw the Gemara B'Kamad above. Afal Pike, it's not called Yimatzulay, and maybe it's only on Kachim Kalim. One of the two. Whatever it is, it comes with a certain understanding that when we say Mikor Tur de Reuven, Mahasha Tur de Reuven, it means to say that what? That the Taka is no transfer of moment. The Shaila is, what is the Yichud Legavaya? That the Yichud Legavaya, is it Aser, but there's no din of Me'ila? Or is there also a din of Me'ila? The Me'ila is seen as a indication of the strength of the and the Agdora of the Isser of Tashmish. Is it just Meyuchel Gavaya and you shouldn't take it? There's an Isser, so of course you should take the bets of giving him a Menachas. Everyone agrees there's an Isser. No, you're not allowed to use Kachim. The question is there also a din Me'ila, Nafkamina for a Korban and Karen and Chaimish. But the Zikr and Isser, the question is just Isser or Me'ila. This, according to the Rashbam here, the idea of Isser versus Me'ila is also indicative in the quality of what is, how, to what extent it is not mine, to what extent is it not Yematzalei, to what extent is it Diday. This is what's happening here. Now, this is all based on this understanding of Reb Chaim and the Gemara B'Kama L'maisa. If you open up the Rishonim of B'Kama, they have a totally different take. The honest truth is they say Pella. Because the Rishonim write Mefurish, Rashi writes about B'Kama Defayin Vav on the idea of Yikor Tur de Reuven, Hasha Tur de Reuven, Zot Rashi, Kaidim shemachre kare hashar al shmoi shel ganav. Umishemachre kare al shem lekech. Avo machre leshamayim adain shem hamagdish olav shekarui oilosoi shel ploini. That's Rashi, Bava Kama, Divrei Amaschel, Machar Leheditz. But first in Rashi, we're not saying that there's no transfer of mumminus, but the Shem Bailim is still called his. Why? Because for a korban, you have to have a Shem Bailim. Giving mumminus to Hegdish does not take away the Shem Bailim as far as a Makiv is concerned, and therefore that's not done with the Mechira. A Mechira, a total Mechira, takes away the Shem Bailim at all. Whoever was is no more. Mashenkin, when you're Magdish, even if the mumminus goes to Hegdish, the Shem Bailim stays here. That's a Mefurish. Rashi, it's also a Rush, Stomach, the Taisvis. Cloud Nakait Biyotcha, this beautiful piece of Reb Chaim, as beautiful as it is, the Rishonim Baba Kama don't learn that way. Masha from them that ain't a Chanami, that there is a transfer of mumminus mamish. L'chayrik, what I'm saying here, the key seems to be that the Rashbam argues with the Rishonim Baba Kama to understand the Pshat more Baba Kama. Okay, that's, I guess, enough to let you guys go eat supper. We'll start Baba Basra tomorrow. These are the questions. Anybody can send me an answer to any of them. I'll be a very happy man. I may just roll through it tomorrow for the first 5-10 minutes, but then we want to go on to Vaitim the Sugya. Kol tu, bracha v'atzlacha. Have a great evening. Again, anybody wants to talk, schmooze, WhatsApp me, and I'm really open for anything, okay? Take care. Oh, tomorrow is Monday. It's Monday, right? So we have a regular learning. And tomorrow night, I have to send you guys some sheets for the topic for tomorrow night, right? Is it 10 o'clock, I think it is? That's what I have to do on some machshava thing. Okay, I will send sheets on the sheer chat, and we'll take it from there. Have a great afternoon, night. Unbelievable. Kol tu bracha v'atzlacha.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Kol tu. Leon, good to see you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.